Hey, hello. So today what we're going to be talking about is integers. Integers can be really fun, um, especially when you're adding and subtracting and multiplying. There's a lot of different rules. But first of all, we're going to quickly go over what an integer is, um, a definition, and then I'm going to show you using a number line. Then we're going to talk about adding and subtracting integers. What an integer is, it is a whole number that can be either negative or positive. All right. For example, if somebody gives you $5, well, then you're up $5, right? So that's a positive. But if you owe someone $5 and you don't have any money at the moment, well, let's say you're in debt $5, so that's a negative. All right. If you want more examples of what an integer is, just take a look at my bank account. I'm kidding. But we're going to go over using a number line. Take a look at what it looks like on a number line. Some of you might remember. And then we're going to go over how to add and subtract integers. Okay. So as you see here, I spelled out integers, I-N-T-E-G-E-R-S. What I have here is I created a number line. In the middle of the number line, we have 0. All right. Now, when we're creating a number line, the first thing that we have to remember is that to the right of the 0 is always the positive number. So positive. And to the left of the 0 is the negative numbers. Okay. So let's start off with the things that we know, the positive numbers. Like I said, they're whole numbers. So we'll start off with 1, right? Positive 1. Then positive 2, and we continue that. Just positive 3, positive 4, positive 5, positive 6, and so on, right? Infinity sign. So farther we go, the higher the number gets. Now, when we're talking about negative though, negative is the opposite of positive, obviously. Negative, again, is on the other side of the 0. Again, we start off negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, and so on and so forth. Infinity sign, because it keeps going and going. Now, the thing is, when you're moving further right on the number line, the bigger the number gets. When you're moving further left down the number line using integers, the smaller the number gets. So if we're comparing numbers, like if we're comparing negative 1 and positive 1, because it's more to the right, then positive 1 would obviously be the bigger number, all right? But if we're comparing integers, for example, if we're comparing negative 6 and negative 1, because negative 1 is further to the right or further to the left on the number line, right, yes, further to the right on the number line, that means it is the bigger number, all right? So the further we go, for example, we have negative 100 and negative 1,000. Negative 100 is going to be the bigger number, all right? It's very important to remember. The further we go to the left, the smaller the number. And the further we go to the right, the bigger number. Obviously, like when we're talking about positive 1 and positive 6, because positive 6 is further to the right, it is the bigger number, all right? That's the thing that we need to remember when we're creating these lines. We're going to go over how to add and subtract. Again, it keeps going and going either way. left or right. There's an infinite amount of numbers on either side. It's just that one side's negative and one side is positive. All right. And like I said, we're going to go over how to add and subtract these. And then we're going to have some questions at the end of the blog post. So please be sure to get those done. All right. Now, before we get started adding and subtracting, I want to first show you this. This is a legend of things that we should know. In this case, I'm using different colors to represent the positive and the negatives. I'm using blue for positive. I'm using red for negative. When we have a positive and a negative together, they equal each other out, meaning they don't have a value except for 0. All right, they're what we're called a 0 pair. Now, what does that mean? Well, it just means that we can create numbers. For example, if I wanted to create 8, positive 8, then I could have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 positives. All right, that means positive 8. But if I continue going like positive, positive, as long as they have negatives with them like this, these equal 0. So I can draw these negative pairs as many as I want, and the value wouldn't change. It would still be positive 8. Okay, it's very important to remember, and very important when we're doing adding and subtracting. When we're doing adding and subtracting of integers, to remember what a 0 pair is. Because when we're adding and subtracting, sometimes we'll get 0 pairs, and they mean just that, 0. All right, so we'll continue. We're going to start off with a real simple question. Here we have -2 plus positive 3. When we're adding things together, we're putting them together, right? If Johnny has 5 apples and Lisa has 5 apples, how many apples do they have altogether? Well, that's an adding question. We put Johnny and Lisa's apples together and we have 10 apples, all right? So in this case, we have a -2 and we have a positive 3. And we are going to see how much we have when we put them together. So we're going to put 3 positives. And it's very simple when you do it this way. You'll take a look. And 2 negatives. And we're putting them together in a group. Okay? Oh, sorry. It's a negative. That's a negative, my bad. Anyways, we have 3 positives and 2 negatives. All right. Only thing is, if we take a look here and here, we have what we call again 0 pairs. So if this is 0 and this is 0, what does -2 plus positive 3 equal? Well, what's left? Well, we have positive 1. So our answer then would be positive 1. All right. So another way to look at this, again, let's say we're dealing with another question in addition. Let's say we have -4 and we're adding positive 2. We draw this out, and you don't have to use colors. Colors are nice. If you don't have colors, then just use negatives and positives. You know, I like to draw them as chips. So negative chip, negative chip. We need 4 of them, 4 negatives, and 2 positives. All right. So positive and positive, right? Now, when we think about it this way, again, we have 4 negatives and 2 positives. we have how many zero pairs? 1, 2. 2 zero pairs. And what do we have left after the fact? After we get rid of those zero pairs? Well, we have -2, right? So that is one way that we can represent these addition in integers is through drawing of pictures using negatives and positives. Again, you don't necessarily have to have colors. I like colors because it makes it look nice and easy to organize. But if all you have is a pencil, then I suggest you use a pencil to draw chips. All right, kind of like what I did here, and I'll give another example in a second. So this time I just decided to use black. Again, just as an example to show you how easy it can be, whether we're using colors or not. But I'd hope that you have possibly some crayons or markers. If not, then like I said, it's very simple if we draw out these negatives and positives. So I have -10. So I'll draw 10 negatives. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I have 11 positives. So I'll draw those out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For those of you who are paying attention, I'm sure you already figured out what is coming up, right? What the answer will be. Now, we have -10 and we're adding +11. Well, we drew them all out. Let's see if we have any zero pairs. Well, that's supposed to be positive, sorry. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 zero pairs. And what are we left with? 1 positive. So our answer then would be +1. All right. So just showing you how easy it can be when we use these signs to add and subtract negatives. Well, add. We're going to go over some subtraction right after this. Subtraction is a little more difficult, though it can be done if you pay attention. Just for this question, I use blue. So what we have here is +10. And what we're going to take away is +2. Very simple. I mean, it's like saying, well, let's say someone came along and took 2 of Lisa and Johnny's apples. Well, they had 10 at the beginning. And let's say Tristan came along and took 2. Now he has 2. He has 2. So Tristan takes 2, he leaves. Well, how much do Johnny and Lisa have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they both have +8 left. Oh, well, they have +8 altogether, all right? What's the difference here? Well, the difference here is they're taking away 2 positive integers. If we think about this in terms of integer questions, it's very different. Very, very different. All right. So for example, if we have -2 subtract +3. Okay, -2 subtract +3. Well, we start with this one because this tells us how much we have. Well, we have 2 negatives. And we're trying to subtract +3. But do we have any +3s to begin with? No, we don't. This is where this is where 0 pairs come in, all right? So we're going to put enough 0 pairs in so that we are able to take away 3 positives, all right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so we're able to, so we put in these 0 pairs. Now we can take away 3 positives, all right? Meaning we can take these and get them out of the way. Get out of here. They're gone, all right? If those are gone, what are we left with? Okay, what are we left with? Well, in this particular case, we're left with 5 negatives. So what would our answer be then? Our answer in this case is -5. Boom, mind blown. All right? That's something very important that we need to realize is that, you know, the value didn't change here. We still had -2. All we did was add 0 pairs and then take away the positives that we needed to take away, right? We needed to take away +3. Well, we took them away after adding those 0 pairs. What were we left with? -5, all right? So let's try that again, except we're going to try and start with positives, all right? We're going to start with positives. So we're going to start with +5, and we are going to subtract. Oh, sorry, didn't mean that. We are going to subtract -4. For those of you really keen people out there, you may already know the answer. So we start out with 5 positives, right? We start out with 5 positives. And we need to subtract -4. But do we have 4 negatives to take away? No, we don't. So this is where we add in those 0 pairs. That's where that's going to help us to get those negatives. So we're going to add 4 0 pairs. And where are they going to come out of? Where are they going to come from? Nowhere. Remember, they're just zeros, okay? They came out of nowhere. So now, I added those 0 pairs in. Do we have 4 negatives to take away? Yes, we do. All right. So we can take these negatives out. What are we left with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're left with 9 positives. So our answer here would be +9. Again, where did those 0, where did they go? Where did they come from? Oh my God, you have so many questions. Again, they just came out of thin air because they're 0. We just drew them in there because we needed 4 negatives to take away. So I drew those 0 pairs in and took away those negatives that we needed to take away, and we got our answer, right? If they are the same integer, like again at the beginning where I showed you +10 take away +2, then it's very, very simple, all right? Again, -5 subtract -2, all right? So we have our 5 negatives. This is the first number. The first number tells us where to start. And the second number tells us how much we need to take away to subtract. So we have these, and we get them out of here. Get out of here. I'll put you somewhere else. What are we left with? 1, 2, 3. 3 negatives. So our answer here would be -3. Okay. I'm going to ask some questions for you down below. I would hope that you get them done. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. You can contact me by phone or through Facebook Messenger or through email. My phone number 306-307-7407. My Facebook, Troy Aaron LaRock, or so this is phone, text, email, ct.tlarock@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Talk to you later.